All right, it is 6 o'clock, and we will call this meeting to order. We can get a roll call.
Derek Jones.
Here.
Katie Cornman.
Here.
Stephen Cox here. Greg Duffy.
Here.
Lane Jones.
Here. All right, if you'll stand and join us in the flag salute and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening together as a school district, as a board, as administrators in our community to do good work for our students, help us to make wise decisions tonight, and be with each and every one of the families in our district. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, moving on to item 2, public participation. Nothing tonight. All right. Item 3, presentation to the board. Presentation by Zonda Education on demographic study and related services.
So Trent Smith is with us tonight via Zoom, and I think we're ready to go. Is that true? Trent, can you hear us?
I can.
All right, you're on.
Okay. Well, good evening, members of the board, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you. I apologize here on Zoom, but no, tonight I just wanted to share with you a little bit about who Zonda Education is, what we do, and how we can best partner with your district. So Zonda has been around now for close to 20 years. Our start has begun in public education. The original person who started is Jack Tipperson. He was actually director of transportation for New Braunfels ISD down in Texas, and then moved to Keller ISD and became a person who actually helped with their development. So when we started having to purchase land, and they were growing at a tremendous clip. And so he found out, he kind of worked his way through, found out how to do this, and then he started getting calls from other districts for assistance. And so he eventually went out on his own, and that's kind of the way this company started. We do our primary, deliverable to most districts is our 10-year enrollment forecast. We also do facility planning. We do attendance zone work as well in development. We help with, finding, future school sites. We do attendance zone restructuring and for new schools that are open, we help develop those plans. Our software that we have allows us to do that. We're part of Zonda, which is the largest single family and multifamily home in data collector in the world. And so our housing data is the most up to date with the latest technology. And we also have as part of that umbrella, we have a company called Bird Eye, which will allow us to see very recent satellite images of different areas that are under development as well. So we can track and see what's going on in those developments and how quickly they're moving forward. A little bit of, we work with about over 100 districts every year and help them with exactly the things that you guys, seem to be looking for. And so Dr. Eichelberger and I have talked a little bit, and it seems that you guys are in need of enrollment forecasting as well as with some facility planning. And so those are things that we specialize in. In Oklahoma, we've worked with Mustang Public Schools. We still work with Edmond Public Schools and several others in your area that we've worked with from time to time. But those two we've worked with on a consistent basis. And so those are the high points. I wanted to also see if you guys had any questions for me.
Trent, tell them a little bit about what they will get from both of those. Like, what you provide quite a bit of data. Talk about that data that you'll provide them, and then how that if we decide to do the attendance boundaries thing, how we would roll that out, how that would look to them.
Okay. So our typical demographic study that we do provides a look at the economic situation in the area. So we look at our companies moving in. What does the job supply look like? What is the overall unemployment rate look like in the area? What is happening economically in the area that's driving growth? Then we look at single family and multifamily housing, as new housing is typically has the largest impact on enrollment. It's not a factor, but it is the largest factor. So we look very closely at what kind of home sales are happening in the area. Are they new homes? Is there an area that's redeveloped? What is happening within the district as far as that is driving kind of home growth and enrollment growth in that process? Look at neighborhoods specifically, and we will geocode students inside each one of those neighborhoods to see where kids live. And so we can look at what is the overall density, student density within each one of those neighborhoods. Give us an idea of how many students per household are these neighborhoods generating, and that look at any kind of future housing and what kind of impact it's going to have on the district. We also look at a 5-year history to see what has been happening for the last 5 years that is going to help us predict in the next 5 years and the next 10 years. So we looked at survival cohorts first. How many second graders become third graders? How many eighth graders become ninth graders? We see what are the patterns that are generally happening in the district already, and we use those to help us predict how many students can likely come through type of housing growth that you're having. We also look at the impact of charter schools or homeschooling. We look at the impact of major highways and that kind of development, any kind of major development that's coming through. And so then we kind of add all those things together. We look at transfers between schools. What does that look like inside your district? And I know has a very interesting policy on interdistrict transfers, and so we look at all those factors inside your district in the last several years. As far as and we put that together into by campus and by grade. In campus, within each campus, and we pull those up in one larger presentation so that you can see what's happening also as the school system grows as a whole. As far as the attendance zone, if we do the attendance zone work with you, we have a software that we can do that every time, because one of the ways that we break down the district is called planning areas. So basically, if you can imagine the map of if you break that down in puzzle size, within each one of those is a number, finite number of how many districts, or I'm sorry, how many housing units to be living inside each one of those planning areas. And so we actually, planning area, look at some of that level so we can see how many are coming out of each one of those planning areas. And then we can move that planning area from one elementary zone to another in real time and show you what the 10-year impact is going to be by moving that neighborhood from one area to another. And so it's a very visual and a very productive way of as we move forward with the process, that you can get the best possible scenario that you're looking for, long range planning. And you can actually look at your forecast of these new attendance zones. You just
Trent, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, but I think we caught most of it. Do you guys have questions?
My main, oh, sorry. my main question was, I mean, I was in the kind of presentation that Mustang Schools did at the conference recently. Is 10 years the farthest that you guys project out? Because I could have sworn they said they did like a 20-year projection.
May have lost him. He was on his cell phone.
The,
Trent, did you hear that question?
He lost power at his house, so he's on his cell phone. That's what he's doing.
and you may be able to answer this question. The,
Hey, can you hear me?
We can now, yes. Did you hear Katie's question?
Okay, okay. I did. And so I was answering it, but it didn't register. So we have done, we've been known to do 20-year forecasts in the past. Here's what we would tell every district is that our 1-year forecast, we want to get within 1% of where you're going to be next year. That's our goal with every one of our clients. And so once you get, we're very confident in that 1 to 3, 4-year, projection. Once you get to 5 years and out past that, there's a lot more crystal ball involved in that, and a lot more where you're just kind of allowing those cohorts to run, because there's so much that can happen in that time period. And so, what we would normally do in a 20-year forecast would be, unless we know of something specific that was going to happen within that time period, say a new major highway or something like that, you would probably see the growth pattern kind of steadily grow from that 10 to 20 years. And so that's typically what we would say to most of our clients, as far as going farther than 10 years. But we have done it before. It's not a problem.
so what's proposed in this particular package, is it the same as what Mustang did?
I know Mustang did the.
It is.
It is?
Okay.
Is that what you said, Trent? I stepped on you.
We proposed a 10-year. It's been a couple of years since we worked with them, and so I think that as far as timing goes, I think that is, if we did a 20-year forecast, like I said, it was part of the same proposal that we're giving.
So the services would be the same. And the reason I'm asking that, I talked to Charles Bradley at Mustang, and he raved about it, and he absolutely loved it and said that he would highly recommend it. It's helped them tremendously, but in the form that they received it. And so I just wanted to see if we're comparing apples to apples with what they did compared to what
Sure.
we're.
What I don't know.
What would be in addition in this one would be the attendance zone planning.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I didn't know, is whether Mustang did that. They apparently did not. I think having someone, we're gonna have to change our attendance zones, especially if we do the things we were talking about with the next bond. So to do that, to have somebody that has some real data to be able to say, this is why we're putting these zones here, I think is worth it. That's my opinion. You all tell me in just a little bit. Anybody else have a question for Trent? All right, Trent, I'll let you know tomorrow. I'll call you or email you and let you know how this all goes. Last
you.
call.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk. I apologize for the technological difficulties, but we just right before this meeting started, I lost power at my house, so that's why I'm coming in on the phone. So I apologize for that.
That's a 10% discount, right? Everybody laughed, including you. Yes, okay. Thank you. Have a good one.
ERCOT blackouts, rolling blackouts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, anything else that we need to?
Item J is where you guys are actually going to vote on that, what you'll want to get to that, we want to decide if we're doing just the 20,000, the extra 15 for the attendance zones, or nothing else.
Okay.
Good.
All right, moving on to item 4, board reports.
So rather than recount these every week for you, Riley does a fantastic job of putting that together. The principals send that information in. There's a lot of good information in there. If you have questions, we have the experts right out here in the audience that will answer your questions. So if you see something that piques your curiosity, feel free to ask them.
I thought it was really good. A lot of good information in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Spent some time looking over it earlier today. My daughter picked out her picture. She saw me looking, she goes, "Hey, that's me."
Hope she finds a release.
Yeah. When do we typically know our, based on the PSAT, those results that come in that identify, help me out.
National merit.
Yep, national merit. I was gonna get it eventually. Wheels were slow.
It's usually, you know, I saw that you got a letter the other day.
That would be released pretty quick.
Yes.
Anybody else in board reports, comments, questions? Appreciate y'all being here tonight.
Absolutely.
There's lots of,
Lots of information.
They all wanted to be here. They were just, please, let me be there.
nothing else. We'll move on to item 5, business items. Part A, discuss and take possible action on Oklahoma State School Board Association Superintendent Evaluation Model.
So I think Lane probably knows the most of you guys. Some of you may have sat in on one of these breakouts, but I've used this before. You can set it up any way that the board and the superintendent want to do it. The way we've had it set it up and the way they recommend is to do it 4 times a quarterly. And we just do, there's like 2 like indicators, and there'll be 4 to 6 points under each one of those. I think it's a great system. The advantage for you guys is you can do it at home or any place you've got a computer or a connection. You can do it, you know, the weekend before or whatever. I always send out a self-evaluation to you a week or 2 before, so that you know where I am, where I think I am, but then you make your decision about where I am, and then we go into executive session and talk about it.
Great. We had a presentation back
Yeah.
in,
It was in
Yeah, I'll have to see that.
March, February, March, I believe.
yeah, really good presentation.
So I talked to Joe Ciano, who used to be the Norman superintendent, works at OSSBA. I talked to him last week, and he said, first you have to approve it, and then we will set up a time for him to come out an hour before a board meeting. We'll have to set the board meeting as a special board meeting early, or we can do it during the board meeting, or we can have it a different night. But it's about an hour of training for you guys just to get you familiar with the software. It's not difficult.
Perfect. Yeah, I've talked.
Did we approve it last time?
Well,
Or,
I don't think we did.
okay,
We talked about getting it on the agenda to do. We did.
okay.
I've talked to several superintendents who are proponents of it. They
Mhm.
feel like it definitely helps keep them focused. So, I don't have any questions on it. Anybody else have any
Nope.
questions on it? If
Mm.
not, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we use the OSSBA superintendent evaluation model.
Second.
Motion by Derek and a second by Stephen. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, item B, discuss and take possible action on extra duty contract in the amount of $4,800 with Dayton Garrett for landscaping and remodeling at Stone Ridge Elementary.
It's pretty much what it says. Matt, do you have anything to add?
We hired him to do some work, Stone Ridge during the summer, and then some landscape to do here at the high school, the elementary and football stadium. He is an employee, and then this is just an extra duty contract to separate him as our, employee.
Looking for a motion to see.
Make a motion to approve the extra duty contract.
Motion by Derek,
I'll second it.
second by Katie. Get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, item C, discuss and take possible action on proposed payment of extra duty stipends as listed on attachment D. 1, football game days, game duty stipend. 2, Native American education tutoring hourly stipend. 3, band adjunct stipend, and 4, swim stipend.
We had a late correction on the band adjunct stipends. Instead of 2,400, those are 2,800. And then the 1,600 is 1,400. Those were confirmed late today. Those are out of their activity fund, so it is not out of general fund.
All right, looking for a motion for approval.
Move to approve the proposed payment of extra duty stipends as listed on attachment D.
Motion by Katie. I'll second. Get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. Item D, discuss and take possible action regarding revised maintenance and bus driver compensation schedules.
I'm going to let Matt explain this. I think we approved this once, but it wasn't right, so we're reapproving. Is that right?
We approved the bus driver compensation schedule last month, but that was just a raise for each step. We actually increased, a couple of our drivers to move to 8-hour schedules to accommodate some of our special ed kids and some, elite kids that will be traveling during the day from campus to campus. And then the, maintenance schedule is a raise across the entire schedule, getting me more in line with area school districts, for the maintenance department.
Should help us
Yeah.
keep some people. All right. Any
make a
questions?
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Stephen, second by Derek. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right. Letter E, discuss and take possible action regarding proposed policy FFA CDA, administration of emergency opioid antagonist.
So this is basically a Narcan policy that describes how we would administer Narcan. And Narcan's a life-saving drug. If somebody has an overdose, you can give it to them with some exceptions. It's not gonna, if you don't know, you give it to them. If they overdose, it's gonna help them. It's not gonna hurt them. Is that fair?
that's correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Be administered by the nurses.
You know, the policy has it by the nurses, I believe, but it could be it could be used by anybody that was trained on it. Now, Scott, have you been trained?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah. So we just have to put the train through. The quicker you get that to somebody,
Right.
the better. But, we've got nurses in most of our buildings, but high school, middle school, so that's the way that would work,
Are we going to have the nasal mist or the injection?
nasal. And that's now over the counter. I just saw a week or two ago that that's all over the counter, which is
Yeah.
great. But we got it. We were given a number of doses anyway.
From the Oklahoma Mental Health Department,
Yes.
Department of Mental Health.
Is there some sort of like just training that all of the faculty sees that helps them identify when we're needing assistance, or do they just call the nurse or the?
You know, Lisa, do we have a training that's specific to, like, we often see
mean, I wouldn't
teachers
know. Yeah.
who see a child acting abnormal differently than they do every day, and they'll call the nurse, call the principal, call somebody, so, but I don't know if we have training that specifically.
Only for our teachers that complete CPR and first aid training, they would get specific training.
Okay.
on how to identify.
It's basically administered when somebody's completely unconscious. They're not awake, they're may or may not be breathing, may or may not have a pulse. When in doubt, you administer Narcan. You start with one, if that doesn't work, you go to the second one.
Make a motion, we approve?
Can I ask one more question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just slow. So how does this policy tie into like the parent policy, like parent signing for like medical like, you know, at the beginning of the year when we enroll and we sign whether or not they can have emergency medical treatment? Is that checked in this instance, or is it?
Since this is a life-saving medication, it would be much like providing first aid for someone or CPR for someone.
Okay.
You know, our goal is to save a life. We don't really go back and look at the
Okay.
demographic sheets about.
I would say it's exactly like giving somebody CPR.
Okay.
You know, and the great thing about Narcan is I guess somebody could be allergic to it, but for the most part, it's not going to hurt you if you don't need it. It's just life-saving. So I don't think we're going to be in a lot of trouble, but it's a good question.
I second.
Make a
Okay.
motion to approve, you good?
Yep.
Second by Derek. Vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, letter F, discuss and take possible action on memorandum of understanding with SNU for Renew Counseling Center student intern clinical rotations.
It is just like it sounds, just like a student teacher for counselors. Do you have anything to add, Lisa, on that? No?
It's just like it sounds. We'll do group and individual counseling if parents will give them permission.
Okay. Great. Questions? Greg?
Nope.
Katie?
Do our students get with them through like the counselors at the school?
Yeah.
Their connection would be through our licensed professional counselors.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't had this before, is that correct?
No, we want this is.
Yeah. Should give us a good pipeline, shouldn't it?
That's the hope. Anytime that we can get these professionals in training into our schools, they see our culture, they want to come back, and that's the hope here.
Counselors aren't growing on trees.
They are not.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Stephen, we get a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Katie. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, letter G, discuss and take possible action on memorandum of understanding with OU Red Rock Mental Health for counseling services for students.
I think we've had this before, correct?
We have partnered with Red Rock. I don't know that you've seen a memorandum of understanding before now, but in order to be in line with what the law requires, then we have this memorandum. When we have a student in crisis, our LPCs reach out to Red Rock. They do the intake, the initial intake via Zoom. That helps us determine if a student needs to be required to go to an inpatient facility to be further evaluated, or if it is safe to release them with their parents to go home. They also, through this process, will provide a higher level of service to students that have that need.
Questions?
I guess, how responsive are they? Like you call them, you have a student that has an issue right now.
They usually respond right now. So they have people on call to take those intake calls. There have been a few times that they haven't had anyone available and we've had to refer to a facility, but most of the time they're able to meet with that student via Zoom along with the LPC and the parent if they want to be present.
Other questions? Katie or Stephen? Not looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Katie with the motion, Derek with the second. We need a vote.
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, item H, discuss and take possible action on entry into an agreement with the Cooperative Council for Oklahoma School Administration to participate in the COSA District Level Services Program for the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
So COSA provides a great deal of professional development, both for our administrators, but it also does for teachers. And, you know, one of the things that we want to do is continually to improve and professionally improve. And so we want our administrators, we want our teachers going to this training. And when you get this building level services or district level services, it's a significant discount on those services, on those professional developments, some of which are free. So this will pay for itself many times over if we use it.
Does this also include their individual dues?
No,
Okay.
no. I wish.
All right. Questions? Derek?
No.
Katie? Greg? If not, looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Stephen. I'll second. Get a vote.
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, letter I, discuss and take possible action to adopt a resolution approving and affirming a lease purchase agreement and authorizing the execution of the same, acknowledging assignment of lessor's interest in lease purchase agreement, designating lease transaction as a qualified tax exempt obligation, and authorizing school district officials to execute any and all necessary document in connection with the aforementioned transactions.
So those of you that were here 9 years ago, I think maybe that's one of you, is that true? No.
No,
Lane,
I
you
wasn't.
were?
I was in the school.
You were in
but I
school.
wasn't
So
here.
the district entered into a lease purchase for a practice gym, of which I don't know where it is.
Wrestling room. high
Wrestling
school,
room.
yep.
And we did, there were three things, some geothermal and some classroom additions. I don't know, I tried really hard to know exactly where all those three were. I just
400
now
wing?
got- huh?
Is that right? 400 wing, right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we knew, Jordan tells me that we knew, when he didn't include me on we, knew that this was coming due. So it was, we paid like every year, a certain amount every year, and we've paid it down, but we still owe some money, and so it's a refinance. I talked to Eric Anderson today, and he said that the bank was basically willing to do the loan without anything to secure that loan. They didn't ask for any collateral. And so, but they only wanted to go 9 years. So we knew when we got to this point that we would be refinancing for another number. So that's where we sit.
How much longer is refinance for?
Well,
How
I
long?
I tried to get that information from Eric, and he is out of town right now. He doesn't have the exact number of what we owe, and so I think we're going to go another 9 is what I think, but I can't promise you that. It may be 5, you know. It's about, was it 5 million?
And it was 5.6 to start with, and then the balloon payment that was due was 2.6. So that's what we're refinancing.
Okay.
I almost.
So
made
it would come due again, it'd come due in 5 or 9 years, whatever.
That's right. As soon as I find out from Eric what that's gonna be, then I'll let you guys know, but it's half the money that we were before. He told me that over the phone, it's gonna be around 4.5%,
Okay.
but I don't know the years.
And if it, is the option to refinance it in there if the interest rate does drop below, like significant below, where it's going to be a significant amount of savings on the, like if it matures in 9 years, in that is the opportunity to refinance it prior to that? I mean, or unless you're locked in on that interest rate for the entire time.
I do not know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that?
Are we approving the actual
You're-
loan in this?
You're
Are we gonna
approving
get
us to sign the
Sign
loan
whatever.
papers. That's right.
Questions?
Is this a document in the folder?
It is not in the
Okay.
folder.
I was gonna work.
I didn't see it. When do they need to know?
So the balloon payment, the 2.3 or whatever, is due, like
Okay.
past due. So that's when neither of us knew this. So Eric calls Jennifer and says, hey, like that 2.3. And Jordan then calls and says, hey, we need to refinance that. So it's a matter of us writing a check for 2.3 million and paying the thing off, because that's what's due. That's the balloon payment. Or refinancing and having some room, which was the plan all along, my understanding.
What's your recommendation?
Refinance.
Okay.
So we're approving the refinance
That's all you're
with,
approving?
understand it's either going to be 5 or 9.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
If I remember correctly, we didn't have the funds available to build the wing that we needed. And we went to the bank, and the bank offered the option for us to do a lease purchase with the money, so.
I think that's.
That was in my first year here.
I think we
remember
were
that.
lucky to be able to tap into that, something we could pay out.
Yeah, because
over
we didn't have
time.
the bonding capacity at
Yeah,
the time either.
We were tapped out.
Yeah.
Somebody to give you $5 million and not ask for any collateral, I think
Yeah,
that's a
very
pretty good partner.
generous. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then not be beating on the door the day it's due.
Right, 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, Jennifer.
Welcome to Piedmont. 2.6 million.
I'm just glad they're signing it, not us.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions?
I mean, I'd rather get the 30 or 90-day extension and see it, but if this is where we're at, then, you know, we can approve it.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Stephen and a second by Derek. You get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, item J, discuss and take possible action on agreement with Zonda Education for demographic study and related services.
So really what we're looking for is, do you want to do this at all? If you do you just want to do the first phase, which is to do the demographic study for 10 years? They could take it out to 20, Katie. What I think he was saying, without saying it, is they just go, oh, you're at a 5% growth, so we do 5% for the next 10 years after the first 10.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And the reason I keep pushing that is because you can do a 5-year projection just off what's already approved. And so I was hoping that, with all their data tools,
You're right.
they could help project more on like infrastructure that the two different, Piedmont versus Oklahoma City has, and then the city plans. And I'm sure they're going to use all that. I was just a little stressed. Or a discount on the next 10 years whenever we push it, when we do
Right.
it again in 5 years. Because 10 years is so soon when we think about how long the developments take to build out. But I'm sure they have all the tools that we need in general, in the package, which is good.
And I think that getting basically a really very educated guess at where we're going is important. I think the part that is intriguing for me the most is listening to Charles at Mustang say the facility planning piece of this is vital. As he said, we're in the education business. He said you bring in experts to help you do things, and you put together your long-range planning committee, and you use this data, use their services, and he said he would absolutely do this over again. And I think that's good to hear. Mustang's probably in a spot where we could be in 15, 20 years. So
They are.
I guess the only concern I have is at some juncture that somehow we try to make a cooperative effort, maybe with the city of Piedmont, and that they're gonna need a lot of this data too. And we're gonna need, actually, in my opinion, some buy-in by the city of Piedmont, because, whenever you start talking about, okay, well, let's go out here on 164th, we'll build a school. Well, then you're talking traffic issues, that's all gotta be addressed. And if we leave a partner out, those can't go back and be remedied.
Right.
We've seen that.
No, I agree with you. Josh Williams, the new city manager, is really, really good, and he will be part of our planning for our next bond.
Yeah, Oklahoma City is going to be a big part of this, just where the growth is at. But, you can take the Oklahoma City plan from their website and lay it over our district and say they expect all of that to be housing. That's what it's there for on their city plan. So, it's just, yeah.
You run into so many different things with Oklahoma City and portables. Stephen knows
Yeah.
this from,
Right.
we've been through it several times. It just isn't the same as Country Piedmont,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
the-
to think we could just hop in there and put in 4 portables like we're talking about at intermediate, it wouldn't happen a year from now, probably.
No. And they would cost $100,000 more. but
Oh, yeah.
for the-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think we need to involve as many players as we can.
And that piece of the puzzle, though, that when we start talking about what they provide versus the long-range planning committee, obviously, this group can provide that committee with the data it needs to make those decisions.
That's the whole point. So we get the information, we share it with you guys, then we take it to the committee that we will form in the interim between now and that point when we have this data. And that's when we really kick this thing off. But that long-range planning, that bond planning committee is going to be what gets us the buy-in from our community. We're going to have people from all the sites, and we're going to have people from the city and the community at large, so that we can get people to understand we don't have a lot of choices. We've got 250 kids coming every year. That's a new school every 2 years, and we don't have the bonding capacity for that. So we've got to make some headway.
Yeah, I think these guys they're gonna tell something we already know. They're coming. People are coming, but they're gonna articulate
Right.
in detail with data.
I think it just,
show you where.
yes, I think it gives credibility to the whole process. You know, if I come to the city or the community and say, we're getting big fast, we got to have more buildings. That's a guy from the outside that's been here about 10 minutes who's telling you, we got to spend a lot of money, millions of dollars. But when we have a company whose job it is to predict these things and then set these boundaries for us, I think it gives us all, the board and me and us, credibility.
Do you recommend the attendance map with
I
it
do.
as well? Because
I
I think
do.
that's a powerful statement of showing where the growth is, where,
You know, the power of, you couldn't hear him very well, but I talked to him on a phone that was a lot better than your connection. And the power is, so we put all these schools out there, the elementaries are the ones that we have boundaries for, because everybody goes to the middle, everybody
Right.
goes to the high school, everybody goes to the intermediate. So they manipulate these borders in and out of these housing complexes, and it says how many kids are going to be, in those deals, so we can adjust how many kids are going to be in all these and balance these schools. For example, right now, Stone Ridge is crazy out of control, lots and lots of kids. The intermediate has 50% more kids than what it was built for right now. Northwood has a little bit of room, but not a lot of room. And that's the only place that we can even say, we got a little bit of room. So it's just a matter of adjusting those, where what I would love is if we could have lower numbers at all our schools and a little bit of ability to grow back into those schools. But I have a feeling that we're going to continue to be pressing this problem all the way through. And, it's not a terrible thing. It's giving me an ulcer, but it's not a terrible thing, because people are moving out here because of the school system. They're moving out here because we're doing a good job, because they are doing a good job, our teachers are doing a good job. So, and what they want is high quality schools and high quality teaching in that school. And, that's what we're here to do.
They want water.
And water.
And road.
And roads.
No, I think I like it.
I do think that the city of Piedmont, which I know again is only a piece of the puzzle, but I feel like they just had their big meeting because they're gonna start revising their city plan as well. So it'll be good timing for us all to have plans laid out.
Yeah, you're right. And I think we have 2 committee members in the room. Is that right?
Depends.
It's not me.
All right, any other questions on that agreement?
I guess January 12th, that's the earliest they could estimate completion.
I think he's being super conservative. I think we can get it a little sooner than that, but I think that's the furthest date, January 12th.
Yeah.
I think we can get it before Christmas break, is my hope. Don't quote me.
Any other questions?
nope.
If not, looking for a motion.
I
Like-
move to approve
With the attendance.
with, yes, with the facility planning section as well, both sections.
Okay. I second.
Second by Derek. Can we get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, letter K, discuss and take possible action on Ramtech Building Systems portable building proposal for two 24 by 64-foot double classroom buildings for $118,050. Really close, Stephen. I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I will give you one little piece. Because I thought that was so outrageous, I've never purchased one before, and I thought, that's ridiculous. And so I called a builder, a friend of mine, and said, how much can you build those for? And he goes, about 120,000. So that's what a builder here locally would charge us to build a portable building. I thought it'd be cheaper, but it's not. So we're at the mercy.
What is the mobility of these things once they're there? Like, they can be moved from site to site, right?
That's
So
correct.
at some point, we're just gonna have them accumulated.
To be
move them
clear,
around.
we can't move them.
No, we can't.
Yeah,
But they can
moved.
be
The
moved.
people that move them in can move them back out.
Yeah, I think either one or two at the middle school came
I-
from the high school, correct?
I was gonna say, I know
Yeah.
we approved moving
Yeah.
some this
Yeah.
summer, but. So where are these ones going?
So if you go to the northeast side of the intermediate, there's a parking lot there, and then there's kind of a grassy area. We'll probably have to do a little bit of dirt work there to get it flat enough. It slopes down, but we can put them both right there, and so they'll still be behind the school where we can feel good about where kids are going out there every day.
Are these companies, and maybe this may be Mr. Billy question here, are these companies pretty good about following through to completion? I just remember several years ago when Craig Church was here, he had some issues with even getting coming back in. I think it was had to do with the sod, maybe at the very end. Yeah, that's right, it was.
And that was part of putting it in the and their requirements. And so I think there was some discussion on whose responsibility that was, since portable had delivered portable.
Right. I guess that'd be site conditions there. And I did see,
This is the company we've most recently used and had successful.
okay.
Are these new?
Brand new.
And they'd make 4 additional classrooms.
That's correct.
They purchased on like state contract, or do we go through bidding process? or-
State contract.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
All right, got a motion by Stephen. I'll second. Get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. All right, letter L, discuss and take possible action regarding proposed policy DAAP, sexual harassment.
So this is just a policy that we need as part of our accreditation. Patty, do you have anything you want to add to?
It needs definitely guidelines and just not.
Keeps us compliant and
That's right.
questions? Looks pretty self-explanatory.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Stephen, second by Derek. Get a vote?
Derek,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes. Letter M, discuss and take possible action regarding proposed policy tribal regalia.
So for the last 4 or 5 years, the Attorney General has sent schools a letter saying, you need to allow people that of Native American heritage to celebrate that at graduation. Most people do it anyway, but the State Department wants us to have a policy on that. It was on the accreditation checklist, and so we're checking that off, make sure we have one.
Questions?
Move adoption of the policy.
Motion by Greg.
Second.
Second by Stephen. Get a vote.
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, letter N, discuss and take possible action on administrative accounting assistant job description.
So this job description is going to be someone that works in Jennifer's office. When Jennifer was in Bethany as the CFO, Bethany has 1,750 kids. She had her and 2 other people. Here, we have 5,300 kids. Jennifer has her and 2 other people. So she's up here day and night, weekends, working. And I said, Jennifer, you got to have another person. So this is not something she asked for. This is something I'm asking for on her behalf, because we're a growing district, and we've got to make sure that we have enough people in place to do the job correctly.
How do you feel we're at as far as staffing for the year?
Are you talking about teachers? You talking about?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
certified, non-certified.
I'm very proud to say that we are getting where we need to be. This will be the last hire, I think, in maintenance. We've done some really good things. The guy who is the HVAC guy here is worth his weight in gold. Not only has he fixed a lot of things that we weren't getting done, but he's also helping our vendor be more efficient. So that's great. The guy that we have on the hire for the maintenance later is going to help Mr. Zook, and they are just working their fingers to the bone. They've covered a lot of ground, but there's a lot of ground to cover. We've got a lot of deferred maintenance. We're figuring out, I think we're about where we need to be after this hire from in finance. I think we're about where we need to be there. I don't know, can anybody tell me any teachers we're still missing? Is that counting the one that's resigning? Okay. So a
Y'all
couple.
done a great job recruiting, because
Absolutely.
that's a long ways from where we've been.
Mm-hmm.
Questions? All right, make a motion, we approve the administrative accounting assistant job description.
Second.
Second by Derek. Get a vote.
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, letter O, discuss and take possible action on FY '24 estimate of needs.
Okay, so you haven't had a lot of time to go through it, and it's lengthy. So I'm sure you all want to read every number in here, 'cause it's very exciting information. But I am just going to start with a summary of estimate needs. That's in your folder. And the first page is the general fund revenue, and that's estimated. So all of these numbers came directly from the auditor. He sent them to me, I looked over them and signed off on them. They're either from allocations that we currently already have for the year, or estimates based on what we had last year. So we don't have all of our federal allocations, we only have our special ed money in so far. So Title I and Title IIA, all of those we don't have. So we just estimated based on what we know is going to be carried over, and then what we were allocated this past year.
property valuations increased to $302,885,347, which is an increase of $40,504,620. So that you will see in the different tax categories, the county for mill, and all of those throughout the funds. So questions over the general fund? Okay. So on page 2 is our building fund appropriations. That total that we'll ask for the county's approval is $4,854,712.07. You'll see that at the top, that 5 mil levy net of $1,452,000 is added to the cash fund balance, taken up with that $1.8 million. And then that second section is our child nutrition fund appropriated amount. Again, the cash fund balance is $1.4 million, and then he's got revenue estimated to bring it to a total of $2.1 million. And then also, our sinking fund millage changed, and so that went from 33.11 mils to 32.15 mils. And we kind of talked about that with the other day as well. So questions over any of that? This is just the revenue side for the year. This is just what we need to bring in collections. This sets the amount that we can't spend over for the year without doing a supplemental, which means we have to show that we have more revenue than expected coming in. Neither I nor the auditor expect that to happen this year. And then next month I'll come to you with the actual expenditure budget. So that'll give you a better idea of kind of where we plan our expenditures versus the revenue we're going to bring in, and then what our carryover will look like.
What else?
That's it. Unless you have questions for the 42-page document that's there. I'm happy to answer any. I just didn't want to take up your time going page by page. A lot of it is just showing what was collected last year compared to what's estimated for this year.
It just looks like it's going to get stronger with our growth, our
Absolutely.
revenue.
Yes. It's about, remember looking, it's about $3.5 million up from last year's.
What else? Any other questions? Derek? Greg? Katie? Stephen?
No.
All right, I make a motion we approve the fiscal year 24 estimate of needs.
Second.
All right. Second by Stephen. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. Wow, that's all for the business.
That's all we come up with.
All right. All right, item 6, consent agenda. Discuss and vote to approve all consent items. These items may be approved by one board motion unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. Any questions on consent agenda?
On the overnight trip request to the National FFA Convention, will any of those, will we have a male chaperone as well? Because I assume we'll have male students in attendance as well.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Do you, Steve, or?
I don't know if they had it last day, unless if they had one last year.
Because I know that was a area of concern from a parent that spoke with me.
Was this parent willing to go as a chaperone?
She would not.
Oh, okay, gotcha, yeah, she's not going.
Yeah.
How about her husband? No, don't even mention it.
Memory fails sometime, okay? In the past, it seemed to me that the senior class year-end balance was just carried over to the next senior year. And in this request, it's asking for it to go to the high school principal.
So I can answer that. So you can see there's a very large balance left in the senior class account this year. Typically, every activity fund, the money raised is supposed to be spent on that purpose. Since these seniors are no longer here, we can't spend it on them. So we asked the sponsor what the reason was for the $5,000 balance, because that really should have been spent last year. And her response was that the principal's account covered several expenses for the seniors, instead of taking it out of the senior account. I'm not sure why that decision was made last year, but that's why we decided the best place for this was to go back to the principal's account. He's the one that spent the money instead of the senior class. The problem with giving it to another class is those parents didn't pay that money, and so really by law, what you should do if there's money left, and it's an exorbitant amount like this, is technically it should be refunded to every parent that paid into that account last year. So we kind of weighed those two options and thought the best was to give it to the high school account that spent the money on the seniors.
Money back.
So I guess going forward, we'll be looking at doing that a little differently then.
We will be, yes. I plan to be at payroll this week, so it's pretty busy in our office, but as soon as that's over, I plan to meet with the senior class sponsor and just kind of go over things with them and kind of what their plan is for this year, as far as not requesting more money than needed for that senior class for their expenses.
What is the plan for what I consider a significant amount of carryover coming to the principal for this $5,000? It's just, we have an expenditure estimate of what we're going to use the money for.
Well, so what the sponsor laid out to us was about a little over $4,000 that she thought was spent out of the principal's account last year. And so the intent is for this to reimburse that account for those senior expenses, and then whatever's left, the principal will decide what to do with it to benefit the school as a whole.
But it'll be somewhere around 1,000 then, not 5,000.
Yes. And my goal for the future is it to be less than 100.
So basically taking a self-correcting measure now to fix it for the future.
Do we have some documentation of what that 4,000 was spent on to verify?
In an email, yes, so I can get more, we can pull financial records from last year as well and kind of get back with it, invoices and stuff like that.
Any other questions?
Nope. I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda, except for the FFA overnight until we hear about there's a male chaperone.
Yeah, we can take care of that.
Okay.
When I say we, what I meant was you. Okay.
All right, got a motion by Derek.
Is that something they need to schedule before we have our next meeting?
It's in, what's the date on that? Do you know?
October
Say there.
31st.
October
Um,
31st?
October 31st. We'll have a meeting prior to that.
Yeah, but I just didn't know if they need to make arrangements for
Right.
lodging, or
Jennifer, do you know?
could we approve it based on the fact that it's approved if there's
Yep.
a male and
That's
female
fine.
chaperone?
That's fine.
That's even better. So now you're really under the gun.
Sorry, sorry.
Mr. Bill, you, Midland, Texas? Midland, Texas? So, do we need to reword that motion?
I have to approve A through K, with K being approved with the addition from Michelle.
Correct. Works for me.
All right, there's our motion.
Second?
Second by Stephen. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Steven, yes. Greg?
Yes,
Lane?
Yes. All right, item 7, executive session, Part A, vote to convene or not to convene into executive session to discuss employment is listed on attachment C, 25 OS 307B1. I make a motion we do not convene into executive session.
Second.
Motion by me, second by Derek. Can we get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Steven, yes. Greg?
yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, no item B, no acknowledgement. Don't need to read the executive sessions compliance announcement. We didn't enter into it. So item 8, action item. Letter A, discuss and take possible action on employment is listed on attachment C. I'll make a
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Stephen, I'll second. We get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Steven, yes. Greg?
Yes,
Lane?
Yes. All right, item 9, new business, discuss and possible action regarding new business. This business, in accordance with 25 OS Section 311A9, is limited to any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting this agenda.
And we do have one resignation that came to us about an hour and a half ago, right before I came in here. So we'll want to act on that. Do we need the name, or what do we need for that?
Yes.
Do you have the name?
It is, it's written.
Right.
It's on ours.
Yeah.
So we just need
So
a,
you can make a motion to accept the resignation of whoever that is.
okay. I'll make a motion, we accept the resignation of the employee listed on.
You can name her.
Alicia Baker, Muncaster.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Lane, second by Katie. We get a vote?
Derek?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Steven, yes. Greg?
yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right, item 10, superintendent's report.
By almost any measure, we've had a great start to the school year. Today was our 21st day of school. We owe our great start to the hard work and dedication and planning of our teachers, office staff, support staff, and administrators. We also owe a big thank you to our parents. They have been a huge part of this successful start to another school year. Parents, thank you for showing us grace as we work through the issues that come with the new school year. There were a few comments. After the first day of school, I sent out an email and I said, tell me how your day went, and I got a lot of really good stuff. Not one bad thing. Or there's a great filter. I don't know. But I want to read you a few of these. These are from teachers or staff. My favorite part of the day was the intentional relationship building that I saw as I visited every single classroom in the school. Our teachers were not going over rules, but rather interactive activities to get to know their students and make them excited about returning tomorrow. There were lots of laughter, movement, energy, and fun. I am beyond proud of our students and staff for making today all about connections. Another teacher said, that was actually an administrator. Another teacher said, today was an amazing day in Piedmont. My kids were fantastic. Everyone was so positive. I was asked several times if I needed anything, and how it was going. Day one dismissal was the best I've ever seen. It's a great day to be a Wildcat. And the last one that I'll spare you, but this was pretty cool. Said, I can tell you from a high school teacher's perspective, this was the best first day of school I've had at PHS. While navigating the challenges in the parking and drop-off at the high school, I witnessed happy principals and teachers working together to get our kids quickly to class. The students saw happy, and then in parentheses, smiling faces, and were greeted warmly, making them excited and energetic and ready to participate in class. I cannot express to you how much this positive impact has had on me as a teacher. I want to thank one more group that I didn't mention earlier that has had a big part to the great start of this school year, and it's our school board. Thank you, Piedmont School Board of Education. Your decision-making and support has allowed us to be successful. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. It's been a good start. I really think, and a lot of times you kind of operate under the adage, no news is good news. And, you know, it's a testament to, you know, to the way things started off and everybody out there as well. And some of the best gauges for that are the kids. And I ask my daughter and her little group of friends, and they're smiling and having a good time. So that's a testament to what's going on.
Absolutely.
I know at the middle school for sure. So, and I think everywhere else from other people I talk to as well. So, great job.
Mhm. Great. I've heard nothing but positive feedback.
Thank you.
All right. Looking for item 11, adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
A motion by Katie,
Second,
second by Stephen. Can you get a vote?
Derek?
Yep.
Katie?
Yes.
Stephen, yes. Greg?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes. All right. It is 7:17. We are adjourned.